for the Greenspring Montessori School class of 2023. Welcome, one and all. My name is Tamara Sheasley-Ballas, and I have the privilege of serving as head of school here at Greenspring Montessori School. And I want to say thank you to the families, faculty, and students for joining us today to commemorate the graduation of Drew, Layla, and Hannah. Can we just say woohoo? Every one of you have made an important impact on the graduates who sit here today, and we are delighted to celebrate with you. Graduates, look around you. The audience today is filled with those who love you, who believe in you, and who want so very much for you. It is our great honor and privilege to be a part of your evolution. You all came to Greenspring in your earliest years as bright-eyed young and much smaller-sized people, spending these critical formative years exploring your voices and your passions, building your self-understanding and your knowledge, learning to both listen and to lead, finding yourselves as friends and advocates, and self-constructing into the young adults that sit before us today. It is my hope that you're feeling proud of your growth and your discovery, and excited to craft a life that with continuous learning and great contribution. Your foundation is laid, graduates. You now go on to high school and beyond, and your big work is to keep these values close as life offers you both challenges and triumphs. There is a big, beautiful, complex world out there, and that world desperately needs you. It needs your love, your strength, your voice, and your purpose. We are so very excited to watch you explore your next adventures. Know that you always, always, always will be a part of the family here at Greenspring. We will be here cheering you on. We're so happy to have you here. And I have to tell you all that this is just such a special group because all of them have been here since this high, and 2 out of the 3 are on staff children, and 1 is a board member's child. So we've been watching them grow every single step of the way, and what a beautiful moment. So, without further ado, there have been many adults who have helped support your journey. Let me introduce you to Adolescent Community Director, Sylvia Glasgow.
Hello, and thank you everyone for coming. So this is our moment to share a little bit about who each of these people are as we see them now, and then we can watch how they continue to grow. You all know Drew. Drew is in the middle of everything. Her enthusiasm is infectious. She's a natural-born leader. And also, inside of all of that energy and enthusiasm, there is a super hard worker who is always going to put in the time. She has super high standards. And the reason for those high standards is because also inside of that, Drew has very strong values. She really cares about social justice. She cares about opportunity, about hope, and she believes that finding out the truth, sharing that, entering the work is going to make a difference. So Drew is leaving us for Parts North. But as you go, Drew, you are going to take those values and you're going to pitch in and do the work to bring them into the world, and you're going to use that enthusiasm to gather a community around you. And we know you'll do everything. Layla. Layla, I am so grateful for your leadership this year. Layla is somebody who is sitting in the room and seeing everything that needs to happen to make the event, to make the work, to make the project, and she's doing it. She's pitching in. Whether that is setting up the tables at coffee shop, whether that is calling another ropes course to finally make that ropes course adventure happen, which was over a year in the coming, but I think it was worth it. Layla is a leader. And Layla knows what she believes, and she sticks to it. You just have to look at her face to see, really, Layla sticks to her values, and she, just like Drew, puts in the work to make those values come to life. And I just know that wherever you go, Layla, you are going to become a rock in that community who holds it down and holds it together and makes the work happen. So thank you for bringing that to us, and I know you're going to do wonderful things. And Hannah. Hannah came to us a writer and an artist, and she has been those things, and she has grown in those things, and she has also revealed herself to be both a leader and a team player, somebody who is going to share her ideas and invite you into the conversation, somebody who is going to lead a project but also pitch in to make somebody else's vision come to reality. She has also shown herself to be a rock climber, a musician. You know I'm going to say mathematician, right? That is also... You've revealed all of these pieces of yourself, Hannah, and as you go next year to develop your voice as a writer, you are also going to bring your passion and use that voice to bring so many other things to life as well. And so we're so excited to see what all three of you do. And now I'm going to pass the mic to Andrew Falstich, who will introduce the graduates to speak for themselves.
Thank you, Sylvia. Our first speaker is Drew Nelson. Drew is a master of both serious work and serious fun. If you walk into our class on any given day, you might find Drew getting a seminar back on track, diligently working on a paper, or supporting a peer in math. Or alternatively, you might find Drew telling a joke, doing an impression, or playing a prank, such as hiding golf pencils among my belongings. This became a running joke after last year we had a box of golf pencils, and all of those tiny pencils somehow ended up everywhere except the box. It is these moments that remind me as an adult to not take life so seriously, to remember when it's time to work hard, and when it's time to laugh. Drew's strong intellect, personality, and sense of humor will serve her well next year. I present to you, Drew Nelson.
Thank you, Andrew. Hello, everybody. I can tell you that the little things are the big things. I focused on that when writing this speech. Recently, my family and I took a little trip. My sister was graduating from college, and so we went down to Florida to celebrate and watch her, graduate. And while hanging out by the pool with my mom, we got talking about my graduation speech. She said to me, not in these words, how what I thought might be the little things are not what they seem to be. They have always been the big things. And I got thinking about what she said, and I came to the conclusion that we take those little things and those big things for granted. And we might not realize how important all the things are, no matter what we classify its size as. For example, a whole community or just a table. We might classify a table as a little thing, but this specific little table in Miss Shannon Brown's class was in my world a big thing. Hello, my name is Drew Nelson, and I'm graduating from 8th grade. Each year at Greenspring, I've learned something new that has shaped me and who I am today. Greenspring has done so much for each of its students and me, and leaving it has made me realize and appreciate that. Today I'm going to be talking about big things. I didn't realize how big these things were until I was leaving them. I was 4 years old when I joined Greenspring, and the first time that I walked into a Montessori classroom, Miss Shannon Brown was my teacher. She was welcoming and kind. And in Children's House, I learned how to work with others, grace and courtesy at its fullest, and how to build relationships with others, adults and peers. I also learned how to tie my shoe, button up a shirt, and the beginnings of how to read and write. But one of the biggest things that I learned in Children's House is the peace table. When a quarrel or strife was present in the classroom, we would go to the peace table to heal that disruption. The peace table taught me how to apologize meaningfully and how to restore a relationship. The peace table also taught me how to advocate for myself, which led to advocating for others, and now, in the adolescent community, I have been advocating for groups of people and issues that I care about. Those gains are tools that I use to this day. That little table is certainly bigger than its size. Ever since I joined Greenspring, I kept in mind how important community is. Recently, I lost someone close to me. I was in upper elementary, 6th grade. I decided to take some days off from school, and when doing so, I was sent a folder from my class. That folder was filled with letters wishing me well. I felt supported, and in that moment, I realized how a community can make one person in that community feel supported and valued. Coming back to school on Monday, my first day back, I felt a feeling of normalcy. I will always be grateful for that feeling because in those moments of grief, it was always nice to have that place that felt, well, normal. Every community I've had at Greenspring has given me a feeling of belonging, safety, and support. Next year, I'm going to high school in Maine. My family and I have pondered moving for a few years now. Both of my parents are from there, and my family and I have gone up every summer. The school that I got accepted to, and am going to, is called Waynfleet. Waynfleet is a small school like Greenspring, though just a little bigger. And when shadowing, I observed many interactions. The ways they connected was inviting and enlightening. Though I am very sad about leaving my friends and community at Greenspring, I'm excited to enter a community that offers a feeling of belonging, support, and hopefully a little laughter too. I'd like to take a moment to thank many people that have made my experience at Greenspring the best it could possibly be. I would like to start by thanking the person that started my wonderful experience here, Miss Shannon Brown. I will never forget your kindness and love for your students. I would also like to thank my 6th grade class and my other upper elementary classmates. Thank you for your generosity, kindness, and laughter. Miss Jackie, I will never forget. Thank you so much. Miss Jackie, I'm so grateful that I got to spend my last year at Greenspring with you as my creative arts teacher. You taught me how awesome a Wednesday can be, and Greenspring is beyond words lucky to have you back. Coach Bree, thank you so much for making gym class so fun. I'm so grateful that you got to spend Odyssey with us, and I'm so grateful that you got to come to Greenspring. Thank you so much for making gym class so fun. I will never forget your love and relationship with your students. I will also never forget Drewby. Andrew, thank you for always believing in me and wanting me to finish at my best and be proud of the finished product. I will never forget how much passion you have for what you do and how much you can secretly teach us, just like Mr. Miyake. I would also like to thank you, Miss Sylvia, for always helping me and lending out a hand when I was lost in math class. I will never forget the dedication for the issues you care about. Mr. Brad, thank you for always having so much generosity, thoughtfulness, and kindness in your class each day. I will never forget your amazing D&D sessions and the comfort I always had in saying hello to you when I saw you around school. I would also like to thank my classmates for bringing so much joy and happiness into the classroom each day, even though some of the days were pretty sluggish and tired. And of course, I want to thank you, my Steves, for the memories we made in the music room practicing yellow and learning new instruments. And these thank yous would not be complete without thanking the reason that I'm here, my mom and my pops. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything that you have done for me. You both are caring, patient, supportive, and loving. You both have picked me up when times were low, and I love you both to the moon and from. The things that I've shared and all the people I've thanked, they have taught me how to create community, keep it, and enjoy it. This would not have been possible without all of you amazing people. Thank you. I would now like to invite my beautiful parents up for some flowers.
Our next speaker is Layla White. If I were to describe Layla in one word, it would be fierce. If Layla has her mind set to something, she will do it, no matter what. This is present both in and outside the classroom. This year, for her project on belief, Layla came up with a plan to interview 25 people across different age spans to understand what they believed in, to get a sense of what it meant to believe as part of the human condition, and to understand what belief might mean for her. Bear in mind, she only had 2 weeks to turn around this project. But Layla was undeterred, and despite a tight timeline, not only was she able to complete her idea, but she wrote a very thought-provoking essay with it as well. Her fierceness also shone through at Odyssey. During our last game of flashlight tag, Layla was so committed to being it that even after she had tripped over Drew on the gravel road and ripped open her elbow, she refused to let us supply any kind of medical attention until after she had caught every last person. And then we could take out the med kit. Layla's fierce determination will serve her well in 10th grade. I present to you Greenspring's longest-serving student, Layla White.
Hello everyone, I'm Layla White. I have been attending Greenspring Montessori School since I was 2 years old. I am now 15 and forever grateful for the memories and opportunities Greenspring has given me in these past 13 years. When I was in Children's House, every day after school, I would stay with my mom, who was an assistant teacher at the time. I would stay with her until Carline was over, and while doing that, I created friends that I would hang out with every day. I remember talking to one of those friends, Jaden, about Greenspring. We were guessing how long we would attend for, and that we would probably stay up until 8th grade. Little did I know that I wouldn't only stay for 8th, but also 9th. And when deciding I would stay another year, I was unsure if I was making the right decision. This year has given me opportunities, such as meeting new people and improving some of my social speaking and algebra skills, to further prepare me for the rest of my high school experience. Not only has this year given me experiences that no other school would give, like learning how to fix bikes, grow seedlings, go on Odyssey trips, play the bass guitar, create a band with some of my closest friends, and work in student-led classes, but it has also given me many memories that will last me a lifetime. As adolescents, it is our responsibility to propose, plan, and make all sorts of school events possible, enjoyable, and successful. Planning projects, like our fundraisers and Odyssey trips, have helped me with my writing, budgeting, communication, and leadership skills, which will help me with many things in my future. This year has helped me grow in so many ways. Not only did my teachers greatly support me through my work, so did my friends and classmates by encouraging me to come out of my comfort zone. As many of you may know, I tend to come across as a quiet or soft-spoken person when you first meet me. And for that, I would like to thank Drew for all the times she has made me speak to strangers in public when I didn't want to. Because of that, my social skills have improved, and throughout these past 2 years, I have gotten more comfortable with public speaking. I would also like to thank Hannah for being my go-to person when I need help with editing my work. Hannah's editing skills have always been extremely helpful, considering she is an amazing writer and never afraid to speak her mind to me. There are a few more people that I would like to acknowledge, those people being my teachers, parents, and classmates. Andrew, you supported me through many projects in these past 2 years. You helped me with my editing and revising process to make my work the best of my ability. You always took time to build relationships and a strong community with each of your students, and that is something I will always remember about you, along with all of the funny times that we have had as a class that you were a part of. Sylvia, I will never forget the support you gave me in math class and the encouragement while being a seedling, bike, and coffee shop manager. You always make effort to build relationships with your students, and I will never forget how much you supported me in these past 2 years. Jackie, you taught me how to play the bass guitar. The encouragement while learning the chorus to our song was extremely helpful and supportive. You dealt with my stubbornness when I was told to make something big in art class and I did the opposite. When handed a large piece of clay, I decided to sculpt a cowboy boot that was a few centimeters big. I didn't do that to be spiteful. I had an idea that came to mind that I wanted to accomplish. And you were supportive, although you encouraged me to make one just a little bigger for the art show. Your creativity, thoughtfulness, and dedication really showed me just how fun a Wednesday morning can be. And speaking of a Wednesday, Coach Bree, thank you for always helping us show our passion to the sports we enjoy playing, and for letting us learn, teach, and play them often together as a class. Rebecca, thank you for helping us turn Kyan's children's book into a film. Working and collaborating with each other for that project was really exciting and something I'll never forget. Mom and Dad, thank you for making me come back to Greenspring after COVID when I didn't want to. These past 2 years have by far been my favorite years that I have had, and I am extremely grateful for them. And last but not least, my classmates, the people I spend every school day with. You always found ways to make school enjoyable, even on the days where none of us felt like being there. I would also like to thank Drew and Hannah again. We have made so many memories, especially in these past 2 years, by taking on new sports, helping one another memorize our speeches, and even looking back at old memories of ours. Some of the most popular... I could say this was my favorite year that I've had here at Greenspring, but according to my mom, I say that every year. I have noticed that as I get older, I tend to appreciate the community that I am in more each year, and I have continued to surround myself with people who make me the best version of myself. Some of the most popular words to describe a school environment are inclusive, well-mannered, hardworking, positive, and encouraging. And while many schools may not have environments that fit all of these characteristics, Greenspring does. And because of that, I have learned what it means to be in a tight-knit community and how to appreciate one. While I am sad about leaving my friends and teachers here at Greenspring, I am excited to take these skills that I have gained and use them in my future, and also to experience a new school environment. Thank you. And now I would like to invite my parents for flowers.
Our final speaker for this evening is Hannah Kellogg. Those of you that know Hannah know that she is a prolific writer. In addition, she also has a deep passion for creative arts, which flourished this year. Toward the end of the winter, our creative arts guide, Jackie, brought in a guitar, and you'll see it right over here. As soon as Hannah saw it, she had an internal drive to play it. However, there was a problem. The shiny red Starcaster needed some work done to it, which required painstakingly adjusting the neck. Most students would have lost interest, but not Hannah. And on that Wednesday, we worked on the guitar together for over an hour until it was finally ready to be played. At that point in the year, Hannah was still learning a few simple chords. Now, she is the lead guitarist for the Steves, who have played many gigs across campus. and will give their final performance this evening. I am sure that Hannah's creative pursuits will only continue to blossom in high school. I present to you Hannah Kellogg.
Greenspring Montessori isn't a normal school, and I didn't really know what that meant until I began my journey to leave. My name is Hannah Kellogg, and I've been a student at Greenspring since I was 3. As many of you know, I'm an indecisive person. Because of this, during my 8th grade year, I ended up shadowing at 4 different high schools and applying for 5. Yet everywhere I went had something in common. The interactions between the students and the teachers seemed almost businesslike. The teachers reminded me of bosses, and the desks of cubicles. But I'm sure the schools are great, and the teachers passionate, but there was a strange feeling I couldn't seem to shake, like this was a place of business instead of a community like you find at Greenspring. It is precisely this community that has supported me and my passion for writing all these years, and it is thanks to this community that I got accepted into Carver's creative writing program, where I will continue to develop the skills Greenspring gave me the opportunity to build. Thanks to Greenspring, Children's House was the first time I wrote a story, and I didn't even know how to write. I don't remember when I knew I wanted to be a writer, but I do remember when I was 3, before I knew about structure, or outline, or how to write a good character. I wanted to tell stories. I would tell my teachers what to write, and they would transcribe it, sometimes taping together 6 or 7 pieces of paper to fit everything I had to say. My mom has boxes of those stories, and the teacher's handwriting covered in my silly little doodles. I don't know of a teacher from any other school that would do something like that for a student, and it meant a lot to me. If it weren't for my teachers in Children's House, I probably wouldn't have found my passion for writing so early, and it was this formative experience that made me the writer I am today. For that, I would like to thank my Children's House teachers, Miss Vicky, Miss Robin, and Miss Lydia, for introducing me to writing as something I can do for fun, as a form of self-expression, instead of just something that is required for school. In Children's House, I had pages of stories the teacher had written for me. In lower elementary, I wrote my first book on my own. It was about a haunted house and included plastic yard flamingos. Once I got to Upper L, I had filled entire notebooks with stories. Upper L was when Upper L was when horror became one of my favorite. Upper L was when my obsession with horror started. My obsession with Coraline, R.L. Stine, and later true crime greatly influenced the way I write. I learned that to write a good horror story, you need to be good at writing emotions and characters people can relate to. Upper elementary is when my writing really changed for the better, as I learned to incorporate all of these themes into my writing. In Upper L, I wrote 2 complete stories. The first, about a group of girls who solved mysteries, called The Mysteries on Maple Street. The second, called The Remains of Tomorrow, a sci-fi novel. Sadly, The Remains of Tomorrow no longer remains in my Google Drive, so instead I will be reading you the beginning of Mysteries on Maple Street, which is as follows. I wrote this story in 5th grade. It all started 2 summers ago, when Cora Coralina and Lavender Beth built a treehouse. It would be round and flat, with no roof or walls, so that the 2 girls could see the stars, and it would even have a spot for Domino, Lavender's kitten. 2 years later, it was the first day back from summer break, and Cora, Lavender's best friend, all the way from the first grade's desk was to the right of Lavender's. But to Lavender's left was a new girl, with skin the color of caramel and eyes the color of olives. On her desk was a paper marked Olivia D. "Okay, class," calls out Miss Lemoncello, Lavender's 5th grade teacher. "Time for math quiz." Some of the kids groan, and Miss Lemoncello pretends not to hear them as she begins to write on the board. "Can anyone tell me the answer?" Lavender raises her hand. Well, meow. "Oh no," Lavender thinks. "Yes, Lavender? Can I go to the bathroom?" My process when writing this piece was diving right in without a plan, something I've always been prone to doing with my writing. The problem with that is that it usually ends in confusing meanings and no clear end. For example, my Google Drive is filled with unlabeled documents, with anywhere from a paragraph or 2 of writing to 5 or 10 forgotten pages. In those cases, whether I ramble on for forever or end my story in an unnatural or confusing way, I end up frustrated. Thankfully, my writing has improved a lot since moving up to the adolescent community. With scheduled class times, homework, and all the extra projects we take on, I had a lot less free time to write, which I think was good for me. I learned how to use an outline, I got more structured in my writing, and I learned to take time and value everything I write. In lower elementary, I never used to use an outline, and as soon as I had an idea, I would write until I lost interest and then move on to another idea. Now, after a few months of being forced to use an outline against my will, and over a year of using it freely, I can make a plan. This planning period makes me put time into my piece, which makes me care about it more. Another thing the more busy schedule taught me was to value the time I do get to write, to really go all in and take it slow so that what I write has meaning. For the last few months, I've been working on this story idea. I've been researching and planning. I have an almost complete outline on all the major characters, what they look like, their likes and dislikes, and their goals and relationships with one another. The story takes place in San Francisco during the 70s. 70s. Sadly, the story is not quite ready to be read publicly, so instead, I will be telling you about another piece I wrote this year. I started this piece in Writer's Workshop. Writer's Workshop takes place every week. We pick a prompt and free write for an hour, or it's supposed to be an hour. We usually beg Andrew for as much time as we can get. Anyway, this week I picked the prompt. It was vague, something demonic. And this is a small section of the short story I wrote. A sliver of moonlight peeks from behind the clouds, casting shadows off the writhing tree branches and onto the forest floor. My breath catches at the crunch of every frostbitten leaf, and my eyes water from the cold. As I wiggle my frozen fingers, they brush against a heavily creased piece of paper in the pocket of my light jacket. I shiver. Where is she? I pulled it out of my pocket and unfolded gently. In hasty, rounded handwriting it reads, Claudia, meet me in the forest by the old bridge. You know why. Mara. I look to the left at the old decaying bridge going over a ditch. It's empty. The wind sounds like a murmuring voice as it passes through the trees. Hurry, it seems to say. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Looking down at my watch in the little light the moon gives off, I notice both hands are pointing at 12. I decide that if she isn't here in 10 minutes, then I'm going home. As much as I want to talk to her, it's dangerous being out in the open like this, especially at night when they have the advantage. And it annoys me that she ends her note the way she does. What does you know why mean? I haven't seen her in months, and the last time we talked, I screamed in her face that I hated her and never wanted to see her again. And I almost don't regret it. As I wait, I gaze into the mountain range through the trees and notice the faint outline of a floater staring blankly into the distance. They really are beautiful when they aren't trying to feed off your soul so as not to fade away. In its current state of peace, I notice the wisps of white light in its smoky body and slowly paling blue luminous eyes. It's dying. If it doesn't eat soon, it will disappear. In the corner of my eye, I see movement and pull out my gun. A tall figure is standing on the bridge. I can't make out her face. Mara, I breathe. The figure walks closer. Guess again, the hot pink creature smiles. Suddenly her face is inches from mine, and she smiles as I scream in terror, revealing her needle-sharp canines and forked tongue. As you can see, my writing has improved a lot since 5th grade. Not just the mechanics of my writing, like wording and grammar, but also the way I write has matured, as have I, in the 3 years between these two pieces. I learned a lot about how to write entering the adolescent community, along with when to stop writing and go do math. Because when I understand what's going on, which is a lot more often than it used to be, I actually do enjoy it a little bit. And for that, I'd like to thank my teachers, Andrew and Sylvia, for everything you've taught me in these last 2 years, because it's a whole lot, and I'd be a lot more scared going into high school than I already am without you. I would also like to thank my enrichment teachers for all the crazy fun field trips we have been on this year. Like that time, we were going to go to 2 art museums, and instead went to the zoo and to get Thai food from Guy's grandma. That was probably one of the most fun things to happen this year. So thank you, Miss Jackie, Coach Bree, and Senior Rebecca for all the fun times. I would also like to thank Miss Sherry White for driving the bus to make all of our crazy trips possible. Next, I'd like to thank all 6 of my classmates for the feeling of belonging and support that comes with being in such a passionate community. Specifically Drew and Layla, for always making me laugh, even when we have 5 projects due on the same day, and all I want to do is go back to bed. And last but not least, I'd like to thank my parents for all those years of frantically editing my essays the night before they were due, and when you stopped understanding the math homework I got, helping me to get a math tutor. It meant a lot to me, and I have a small surprise to give you as a thank you. But before that, I'd like to thank Greenspring Montessori for supporting me as a student, as a writer, and as a part of this community for these last 11 years. I wouldn't be the person I am today without this place, so thank you. Now, I would like to invite my parents up to the stage.
And now I'd like to invite up Ben Rufael to introduce our slideshow.
Hello, my name is Benjamin Rufael, and today we'll be showing you a slideshow of the memories we had during this year. We hope you enjoy.
And now it's time for the conferral of the diplomas.
All right, our first graduate today is Drew Nelson. Our next graduate is Layla White. Our final graduate is Hannah Kellogg. And before we hear a final parting song from the Steves, I'd like to invite Drew back for something that's not in your program.
Hello, everybody again. I just want to come up here and thank both of our teachers, Mr. Andrew and Miss Sylvia. Thank you for always believing in us, letting us be silly, and getting us back on track. This is a small gift, some flowers. Thank you so much.
And now the Steves.
I'm not singing. I just want to make that.
Come on.
Hello, everybody. We are the Steves. We created this band at the beginning of 2023, and it has brought us together. We've learned many new instruments and performed many places. We're planning to go on tour.
Yeah!
Today we'll be presenting to you guys Yellow by Coldplay.
Can we have another round of applause for the Steves? Thank you everyone for coming to our graduation ceremony this evening. I am Andrew Falstich, Lead Humanities Guide for the Adolescent community. It has been an honor to guide these three incredible young people through their journey in this program. Before we send the graduates off into the world, I would like to talk about community and how the community our students created allowed each of them to develop into the fine young people that sit before you today. But before I talk about what the students learned, I'd like to talk a little bit about what I learned. I love that Greenspring is an intentional learning community, and I have learned so much from my work here. One thing I learned from my mentor, Pat Ludick, is that one of the best ways to build trust with adolescents is to admit when you're wrong. So I'm standing here today to admit it. I was wrong. Let me explain. During our odyssey, or I should say before our odyssey, at New Germany State Park, Kyan, one of our 7th years, asked me, Sylvia, and Bree if we could bring him to the local pool every morning to train for his upcoming swim meet. The pool was about 30 minutes away and would require leaving before 6 a.m. in order to swim, shower, and get back to our cabin in time for the rest of the day's activities. While only 2 students came with Bree and I on Tuesday morning, on Wednesday, the group decided to change our morning plans and bring the whole group to the pool for a swim lesson from Coach Kyan, meaning a normal wake-up time because it was our official activity. Everyone enjoyed the lesson. However, the next day, we had an early appointment to track and yak, which stands for riding down a railroad track and kayaking, in case you were confused. And anyone who wanted to come swimming on Thursday morning would need to wake up at 5:15 a.m. in order to get out the door by 5:30. I'd like to ask for a show of hands. How many parents in the room have had difficulty getting their child or adolescent out of bed in the morning? Okay, that's about what I'd expect. So you won't be surprised that I assumed Kyan would be the only person accompanying me the next morning. After all, he was the only one training for a swim meet. So when the entire class told me that they'd all agreed to wake up at 5:15 the next morning to swim, I didn't believe them. I thought about my own experiences as an adolescent, that absolutely nothing would get me out of bed before I had to. But this is where I was wrong. Dr. Montessori called on educators to see adolescents as they could be, not who society often assumes that they are. Getting up early to go to the pool was not an individualistic choice, but rather a communal one. It required sacrificing your own comfort to support a peer. It required discipline and responsibility to make sure you were out of bed and on the bus, so that the whole group wouldn't be late. It required a deep sense of connection to community, that we were all in it together. This choice, to choose the community over the self, is not easy. At 5:15, I knocked on every door. Time to get up. And without protest, without a single complaint, every student sprang out of bed, got ready, and hopped on the bus. When we got to the pool, Kyan jumped into the lap section to do his workout, while the rest of the students got into the warm pool to cheer him on as he passed. They were not there to work out themselves, but if one student was going to have to get up and go, they were going to go too. Dr. Montessori argued that through the experience of living in community, taking care of each other's needs, and developing independence through the support of other students and guides, the true adolescent would emerge, as they could be. Disciplined, selfless, responsible, caring. Each student developed these traits because of the community they built. This community is not something we as adults could give them. It was something created for and among themselves. To the graduates, the spirit of this community lives and breathes among and within you. And while you are all moving on to new and exciting chapters of your lives, which may very well take you far away from Greenspring, This community will always be with you, both in remembrance of what once was, in your short 2 years in the adolescent community, and as a reminder that no matter where you are, we will always be here for you. And while we may never all be together in Cabin 11 in New Germany State Park, we will always be ready, no matter how many miles apart we are, to show the same selflessness you showed that day at 5:15 a.m., because we know that you would do the same for us. And with that, I would like to conclude the Greenspring Montessori School 2023 graduation ceremony. Please rise and give a final round of applause to our 3 incredible graduates.